But I start by saying how much I've enjoyed listening to Coldplay for the last week and a half. It's been great. I was not a, normal user of Coldplay, and for no reason.
I don't know how to. One time you asked me to send you the songs I thought you should listen to, and I just didn't reply because it felt strange to try and. I felt like a pusher.
Yeah.
I felt like he'll come to it when he's ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. No, I've totally. It really is. It's not any particular group. It's just as you age, you're not interested in new things. You're kind of like, I'm all fine for the Supremes. Give me, and Otis Redding and stuff like that. So you don't want to hear new stuff. But anyway, it's been great, and I've really enjoyed it. And this stuff is great. Let me ask you this: the name Coldplay. I know you were the Starfish.
Well, for about 2 minutes, yeah. So we didn't really have a name. Our first gig, we were called Starfish for one concert, and then my good friend Tim, who was in a band and would go through band names very, very fast, and he would discard them. And Coldplay, we picked up from him.
So what did Coldplay mean to you? It
just meant us. I don't know if you do this. If you ever think about a word too long, you're like, why is that called a television, it starts to trip you out a bit. Sometimes I think, God, my whole life is defined by this Coldplay. But I don't think about it anymore. It's just us.
I mean, don't you think that karma has given you this? There's some reason in the universe that you've been given this name, Coldplay. You chose this name, Coldplay.
Yeah.
Does it have any resonance with you on that level?
I think it resonates because I like the fact that it only means us, if you see what I mean. In the same way that's called a shoe, we're called Coldplay.
There's a lot of shoes.
No, but that's what it's the name. There's only that. I can't quite articulate it. If we were called the Flower Pots,
you would be.
You'd also think of a flower pot.
What was the urge in you to play music? When did that start for you, and where do you think it came from, and then how did it develop in college? I mean, take me to that.
So I was playing.
You just had to start a band.
Okay, I was playing a bit up to the age of 10, but not very much. And then when I was 11, I was at a very old-fashioned school, and this teacher came in who was a bit of a maverick in that world, and I had been told before that I wasn't allowed to be musical, really, because I didn't sing in the choir and stuff. And then this guy came in and said, no, everybody's musical, and there was a bunch of these kids' keyboards around the room, and he said, everyone go and mess around. And then something just opened. And at the end of the class, I said, hey, this is what I got. And he was very encouraging, and that's when the little fire started.
In that moment.
When
you first touched the keyboards in that class.
Yeah, and then.
What was it? The sound of it?
Yeah, and then I just felt like music was coming through. If I think back, and I didn't know what to do about that for a few years, and then I went to a boarding school, a similar style of school. And the idea of anyone from that world becoming in a band was just completely impossible. I may as well have wanted to be an astronaut or a Martian, So I was having a bit of a rough time around 13, 14. And that's what really lit the fire of okay, I gotta make something of myself. It's just hanging out and playing football is not working for me. I got to do something.
What was the rough time? Did you
just that age?
You didn't fit in, or just that you were?
No, I don't think anyone at that age in that kind of environment fits in, and it can be quite hostile.
In a boarding school. Was it boarding school?
Boys boarding, yeah.
And you didn't fit into the football, rugby guys?
I did a bit, but I don't know. It was just I was going through some stuff with religion and sexuality and everything, just getting all confused, like most kids at that age. You're like, what is happening? And it can be brutal until you realize, oh, everyone's going through this.
Yeah. And
But anyway, that lit the fire of like, all right, I'm going to just work
I'll do this
hard,
as a band.
Yeah, but I still didn't think it was possible.
But you decided I'd work at it.
Yeah, so I would, in the middle of the night, go and play and break into the music room. And
What were the big bands you were listening to then? What were the groups you were listening to then?
then I had a very strange dual education, triple education. On the one hand, I was listening to a lot of church music because we had to go and sing those hymns every day, which are these beautiful big songs. Then I was into this band called James, all the sort of shoegazing stuff in England in the early 90s.
Early emo kind of.
Yeah, like The Cure and James, and then I was into U2 and REM. And then I was also getting this because this guy in the year above me was obsessed with soul and Motown and rhythm and blues. And he knew that I played the piano, so he said, you're the piano player in my band. He was a very scary kid. He was this big sports guy, like built like a tank, but he was gay and couldn't come out. So he was quite angry. So I was fucking terrified of him. So he said, you're the piano player of my band.
And you had to do it.
And I was like, yes, sir. And he said, play some blues. I said, I don't know what that is.
Oh my.
So he sat me down and showed me the blues, and then showed me Otis Redding and Fats Domino and Marvin Gaye and Aretha Franklin. So every day I'm so grateful for that, because there's no way that, this is before YouTube and the internet, there's no way I would have been exposed to that music. So I was getting a big mix of stuff.
So kind of folky stuff,
Yeah.
plus cathedral stuff,
Yeah,
plus
cathedral
blues and
stuff.
gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Well, that's kind of what makes the thing rock and roll, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, just wait. Take me from that moment then forward from high school,
So
boarding school.
it's a strange thing to talk about, because it's not as gritty or glamorous or edgy as, let's say, Jay-Z's story. In terms of, I don't know how to talk about it particularly in a way that doesn't just seem a bit soft. But to me, it was completely impossible to be able to do this for my life. So I just thought this was this thing that was in me, and I just worked on it. But I never imagined that, even London seemed like Oz,
You don't have a story of the hard, mean streets and, all and the real deprivation and, cruelty and so on. But still, there's an angst and an anger in you and a
it's not an angst or an anger, but just there's a fire and I felt like this is what I'm supposed to do, but I'm probably not allowed to do it. And that was an interesting energy, but a good one, because it just reinforced that the thing at the center of everything is just a passion.
Was it a passion for the music?
Yeah.
Or was it a passion also to be a rock star?
I think both, but music mainly, because I didn't think the second one was possible.
So I have music in me, I want to play that.
Yeah.
And I've got to play, and that's all that matters. That's
Yeah.
what matters to me.
Yeah.
Stardom, little money. Let me ask you a question. You've been making a commercial record for about 20 years, starting about 2000?
19 years, yeah.
So you've made 8 records in that time?
We've just finished our 8th record, yeah.
Why does it take you so long to make a record?
That's a great question. I think we could have made 50 records at that time, but they'd be even worse.
Oh my God.
We could have.
Is that self-effacing? I mean,
Not at all. It's not
worse.
self-effacing at all.
Well, they're not bad now.
Yeah, but Rolling Stone and us have a checkered history, so I don't know what you might think about. Well, in fact, all journalists and us have a checkered history, and we embrace it and love it. So I don't want to ever assume, we've made 8 masterpieces, and you'll be like, geez, I just gave the new record.
I just read all the reviews. I don't think you have a quarrel with Rolling Stone.
Anyway, no, but sometimes it's good. I remember when we first landed in America to come and do SNL, and I read Rolling Stone review of our single, and it was not good.
Which single?
Our first, Yellow, it was called.
Okay.
But I was like, right, we got to get better.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Well, that's the purpose of criticism, and some of
Yeah.
a lot of it's legitimate. You know, much
Yeah,
of
and
it's
sometimes, you know, listen, I read an amazing book once called The Conscious Ear. And in it, it basically said that some people's voices irritate some people's ears. And some people's voices sound good to everybody. And I definitely have a voice that some people just like, I don't like this.
Oh.
So sometimes you just got to be like, okay, it's not for you, that's fine.
I don't think it's the voice, but
You see what I mean? Anyway.
I mean, I'm glad the review of Yellow was constructive, and you
Yeah.
found a way to use that. I'm very pleased that we did that. But also, it's interesting that you remember that one thing rather than the 30 other times we said you were band of the year, the best this and that, fuck all that nice stuff.
Yeah, thank you. But anyway, why does it take so long? And it's a great thing. I think it's partly to do with how long you tour, and to do with if an album is successful, I think I have a very British thing of like, okay, we should probably go away for a bit, rather than keep.
Really?
Yeah.
Some people would say yes, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
And some people would say these days, particularly, that if you don't start putting on a regular succession of albums, you get out of the public eye and it's hard to come back.
Yeah, and that might be true.
I don't think in your case it's true. But
We'll
that's
see.
another thing.
And going back to that thing that I was talking about as a teenager, there's just something in my body which says when something's right and finished. And it's only happened 8 times, 7. It's only happened 7 times in the last 19 years, because once it didn't happen and we still released the album.
Which was that?
Our 3rd album, called X and Y. I was like, this is not quite finished, and it's not quite right. But we got swept up in all these other concerns, and
But they
probably
did
learned a
rather
big lesson.
fantastically, didn't it? But they're all.
But how it did is not.
It's the critical review you.
How it does is not. No, it's not. It's just like how it feels.
Well, so how should it feel? I mean, so this starts to answer.